It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas, home of the world's largest race and sports book and the Super Contest.
Money won is twice as sweet as money earned.
Presented by WagerTalk.com.
Tuesday, Superbook USA edition of the Las Vegas Sportsline. I'm Dave Cokin. Marco DAngelo's here. Ari Platinum's here. We'll have Jeff Sherman from Superbook USA joining us a little bit. And boy, is it a busy day down there because they had to make some odds changes in a hurry. Big news in baseball we'll get to. We'll cover the Golden Knights. We'll look at some good matchups tonight and get into a whole bunch of other things with Jeff when he's on as well. But the big story today, and it's already having a big impact as far as numbers having to be changed, Manny Machado is going to be a San Diego Padre. He'll be residing just about 4.5 hours away from Las Vegas at beautiful Petco Park. And these aren't money moves. This is move on air, move on info. But big adjustments already in the prices on the Padres in every category, Marco.
Yeah, Dave, we talked about it right before we went on the air, and obviously he improves the Padres, but I think this is a little bit of an overreaction to the numbers moving as much as they are right now. You still got the Dodgers in that division. You still got Arizona and Colorado, who both were improved last year. I know San Francisco.
Forget the Diamondbacks. Half their teams playing elsewhere now.
This is true. But the Padres, can they make that big of a leap, in your opinion?
I think they're the third best team in the division now, with a chance to maybe be the second best team in the division, because I think the Rockies have some issues. I don't like Ian Desmond in center field for the Rockies. They're moving Blackman to right field for wear and tear purposes. And Desmond in center, don't know about that. And they got an awful lot out of their pitching staff last year. I don't know that they can repeat. You know, Kyle Freeland was just magic. Marquez was good. Padres
and they were all good at home, which was uncharacteristic of that part. Yeah.
I think the Padres are improved physically and mentally. This team's going to go into spring training feeling like they're a team on the rise, and that can always help. Now, I think the Dodgers are clearly the best team in the division, and they are still minus 400 plus to win the division at the Superbook. But there were immediate, significant adjustments in the Padres' numbers. 78.5 is the new over and under win total. These are Superbook numbers. They're down to 50 to 1 to win the World Series, 25 to 1 to win the National League, and they're the third choice. I think it's 12 to 1, if I'm not mistaken, to win the division. So, it's not like I'm going to run down and bet that, but I think you had to make moves like that because it is clearly a positive move for the Padres' part. And you know, I would not rule out them going out and getting another player or two. I think they're not just signing Machado. Okay, now, I'm not saying that they're going to get Bryce Harper, although he's supposedly still in the mix for him. I think he's going to end up with the Phillies. But I do think that there are some other guys out there that they might be looking at now and saying, you know, we're getting closer. And here's the thing on San Diego that's really important. They are now the only big league franchise in San Diego. And I think they're going to step up and make it a big baseball town now.
Oh, that's for sure. And then the fact that you signed Machado, that gives you the opportunity to get some other fringe guys that are on the fence where they want to go, because all of a sudden now this is a more attractive destination because they have improved the team dramatically with the one move.
Well, and also dramatically improved their prospects for the next couple of years. I don't know that 2019 is going to be anything special. And, you know, the win total is 78. Okay, 78.5. So they're still not expected to be a winning team. But they got like 10 of the top 100 prospects in baseball, including Tatis, who's probably the second or third best prospect. They've got a ton of good pitchers in the way. They're not all going to pan out. But if you've got 10 of the top 100 and 5 of them pan out to be good or better than good, you got a contender.
Well, I know one thing. In less than 2 weeks, I'll be in Arizona.
Yes.
And San Diego is one of the teams that is in the Cactus League spring training out there, so I'll get to see them firsthand and see what kind of excitement's around the ball club in spring training.
Let's talk about some Golden Knights action. Not too good last night. They had a good game over the weekend, one they really needed, but they were unable to maintain their momentum, go on the road last night, and just could not get the puck past Varlamov who had a very good night for the Avalanche. I thought Subban played well for the Golden Knights, but the offense, which has been an ongoing issue, went back into hibernation last night. And, look, they're still in really secure position to make the playoffs as the third team out of the division. But they just don't look like a serious contender right now without more offense, and I don't know if they're going to go out and get more offense.
I know. You look at the playoff picture, and, we got spoiled last year as easy as it came. If they would go in one and done, this town's not going to know how to handle that because it was too easy last year.
Yeah, I agree. Although that's a possibility. The good thing is, I don't know if they are a one and done because in the playoffs, as we all know, goaltending really comes up big in the playoffs. And now they're going to have a chance to rest Fleury some down the stretch. That's going to be good because, you're talking about two teams in the division, Calgary and San Jose. Neither one of them is strong in goal. And I think it's going to hurt those teams come playoff time. I think San Jose is very vulnerable because I don't like their goaltending at all in Martin Jones and Aaron Dell. And, unless they go out and trade for Bobrovsky, which is a possibility, I think San Jose is going to be really vulnerable early on. So I think the Knights have a good chance to win a series come playoff time.
Beating Nashville over the weekend was a huge win. I mean, Nashville's a solid team. That was a statement win they needed, and it was a big effort by Subban.
He played really well.
Yeah, of course he's going to get pumped up for that game against his brother, and get the start there. But still, we need to find that offense somewhere and get Fleury back the way he was in the playoffs last year.
I think this is really smart on Gallant's part and the team in giving him what's going to amount to a full week off. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a smart move. Let's check out some of tonight's action. Some good games. Not a big schedule tonight, but some really good matchups. We will check some of them out right now on our Tuesday MJ Christensen 4 at 4.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
Put them fours up. Put the fours up, I said. Do it right now.
Tonight's action is just around the bend, and the guys want to get your night off to a great start.
4.
It's the Las Vegas Sportsline's 4 at 4.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Unbelievable.
Going to save UNLV and Wyoming for later on in our marquee matchup because it's still the Running Rebels, and we will address the Pitino rumors at that point in today's conversation. Right now, let's look at tonight's matchups. Brought to you by MJ Christensen. Valentine's Day has come and gone, but the great deals at MJ Christensen, they just keep rolling along. And among the specials that are there right now, look, if you've ever dreamed about owning a Rolex, you can get a pre-owned Rolex with all the papers, authenticity guaranteed, fantastic service. They're right there at MJ Christensen. Go down and check out the selection now at their location in Boca Park. MJ Christensen, serving Las Vegas for 80 years and doing it in wonderful fashion. We think you'll be delighted with the service you get and the deals you get as well at MJ. Dayton and Davidson. No, that's the second game I want to. No, Dayton and Davidson's what I want to lead off with. That's the 3 o'clock game. Mm-hmm. And Davidson managed to get through what was not their best effort against St. Joe's. Cost me money on the weekend, Friday. As Curry was there. It was a packed house. Revenge game. But St. Joe's made 10 3-pointers in the first half, and there's not much you can do about that. Team's knocking them down. Hey, that's the way it goes. We'll see if Davidson can pick up another win tonight against a tough Dayton team. This is a good matchup. I wonder if the Wildcats might be a little more relaxed tonight. They were maybe a little bit too pumped up against St. Joe's on Friday night. I mean, it was electric down there, and they just never really got it going.
No, they didn't. And you talk about those 10 3-pointers, Dave. Davidson's been playing tenacious defense. Yeah. They've held the last 4 opponents to 38.5% or less. They're 12-0 straight up at home. Davidson is 8-0 against the spread in home games after 2 or more consecutive wins the last 2 seasons. And Dayton's 9-21 against the spread against conference opponents. Everything says to take Davidson in this game tonight. But I'm going to tell you, this is a team that's deadlocked atop the Atlantic 10. They're 12-0 at home, and this number opened up at 2.5, went overnight, went to 3, and then 3.5. Something just doesn't smell right that it opened so low. Did you ever just get those feelings on the game?
Here's the thing. From a matchup standpoint, it's not a great matchup for Davidson because Dayton is a patient team that will work the ball inside, and you can beat Davidson on the inside. Then you get the big guy into foul trouble. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but Davidson. He's a good player, but he's never going to win Athlete of the Year. And Dayton's got a couple of really good big men who might be too athletic for him. I would not be surprised if Dayton goes in and wins the game. I didn't play it.
Yeah, I have a slight lean to Dayton just because I got that. It just doesn't smell. When I see a 12-0 home team and they're atop the division and it's that small of a number, it just causes me concern.
Maryland will visit Iowa in Big Ten action tonight. Both these teams having designs on getting to the NCAA tournament. So obviously it's an important game for their at-large likelihood or possibilities, if you will. And looks like a pretty good game.
Yeah, Iowa very lucky to pull out the win over the weekend.
Yes.
Buzzer beater to beat a pesky Rutgers team on Saturday. You look at this one, Iowa's won 4 in a row, but the last 2 have gone down to the final shot. Maryland ran into a fired-up Michigan team over the weekend, and Michigan held them to a season-low 52 points. Maryland's played the 22nd toughest schedule in the country. But on the flip side, Iowa not that far behind at 31st toughest schedule. So these two teams, I think the winner of this game, as you said, Dave, positions themselves in for the at-large bid
game.
But Maryland owns the 16th best defense, allowing just 39.6% shooting. And I think that's going to be the difference in this game. I'll give you a little stat here on Maryland. Maryland is 13-4 against the spread after a game with a combined score of 125 points or less. I like them here. I'm going to go ahead and take Maryland plus the points.
One thing we've seen out of Florida State this year is that when they go up against a good defensive squad, you can shut them down. And that's going to be the story of the Seminoles tonight. They're at Littlejohn to face Clemson. Clemson is getting better. And Brad Brownell's team is always tough defensively. I think this is a tough spot for the Seminoles. I like the Clemson side here.
Yeah, we don't disagree too often, Dave, but I am going to disagree with you on this one. Florida State, to me, is a team that's not getting any talk in the ACC. I mean, when you've got a conference that's got Virginia, Duke, and North Carolina is going to get all the limelight. This Florida State team won 9 out of 10 games before that 2-point loss to Florida State. Then they had the carryover, hangover effect, whatever you want to call
Florida State lost to Duke.
They lost to Duke, yes. And then they lost the next 2 games after that. But since then, they're back on a winning streak. They're won 7 in a row again. Clemson's had back-to-back close losses to Miami of Florida by 1 and then to Louisville by 1 over the weekend. The Louisville game, if you remember, we talked about that on the podcast last week, that was a bad spot for Louisville. That was the first game after they blew that 23-point lead against Duke and thought they might come up flat.
Almost blew it again.
They almost did. And so I think that close game against Louisville looks better than it actually was. I'm going to go ahead and take Florida State. And here's a little stat for you. You like stats that are league-wide? Well, here's
generic rather than specific team. Yeah.
Okay. Road teams where the line is +3 to -3 in college basketball, and they are off a blowout win of 20 points or more over a conference rival, and it's a game involving 2 teams that have a 60% or better win percentage league-wide. This stat, 142 wins, 83 losses against the spread. That's a 63% angle. I'm on Florida State.
And we'll go to the NHL for one because this is a really good matchup. Wouldn't have thought this would be a good matchup a month ago. It'd be like, why would you even consider talking about that? But the Maple Leafs on the road against the blazing hot St. Louis Blues, winners of 10 in a row. The Blues are right back in the playoff hunt, playing tremendous hockey, playing with tremendous confidence. This coaching change they made to Craig Berube has really paid off because it's just a lot tougher, more determined team right now. And this is a marquee matchup tonight in the NHL because the Maple Leafs obviously one of the best teams in the league going in. I don't really have an opinion on the game, except that this is the one I want to watch tonight. I mean, I definitely want to see this game.
Yeah, you talk about the 10-game winning streak and the difference it made since they switched coaches. They're 24-13-2 under the interim coach. But you figure they just won 10 in a row. So they were only 14-13 prior to this run.
They're dominating in these 10 games, too.
Dominating? That might be the understatement of the day, Dave. How about 40-14?
Wow.
They've outscored the opponents in that stretch. The rookie goaltender, Binnington.
He's been tremendous.
He's won 8 consecutive games. He's had 3 straight shutouts. The kid's playing phenomenal. But he's going to be facing a Toronto team that's on the end of a 6-game road trip